Hello everyone. In this lecture, we will see principal component analysis. So this is the algorithm which is used to reduce the dimensions of the features. So before this, we have seen that what is meant by instance-based learning, and along with that, to create any instance, we need to select the features. So how we have to select the features and what procedure we have to follow while selecting the features is all things we have seen before this lecture. Now, suppose we have selected the features and that features are having more number of dimensions. So this will again create some problem for the instances. So to reduce dimensions of any feature, we have to use dimensionality reduction algorithms. And there are basically two algorithms which are used for the same. They are principal component analysis and linear discriminant analysis, in which we are going to see principal component analysis in detail in this lecture. So principal component analysis or PCA is a dimensionality reduction method that can often used to reduce the dimensionality of large data sets by transforming a large set of variables into a smaller one that still contains most of the information in the large set. Means the thing is, what we have to do here, suppose we are having multiple dimensions for the feature or a data set, we have to reduce the dimensions but without losing the data. And it is possible, just we have to follow this algorithm. Reducing the number of variables of a data set naturally comes at the expense of accuracy, but the trick in dimensionality reduction is to trade a little accuracy for simplicity, because smaller data sets are easier to explore and visualize and make analyzing data much easier and faster for machine learning algorithms without extraneous variables to process. So to sum up the idea of PCA, it is a simple reduce the number of variables of a dataset while preserving as much information as possible without losing much data, and uh, by achieving some level of accuracy, we can reduce the variables of a dataset or we can reduce the dimensions of any feature by using this algorithm. Now this algorithm are having some steps. So step 1 is standardization. The aim of this step is to standardize the range of continuous initial variables so that each one of them contributes equally to the analysis. More specifically, the reason why it is critical to perform standardization prior to PCA is that the latter is quite sensitive regarding the variances of initial variables. Means first we have to take the variables, like suppose we are plotting a graph. For that graph we need to take the data points, in which suppose we are having two dimensions x and y. Then first thing is we have to do the standardization, means we have to take all the x and y, we have to calculate the mean of x and mean of y. That is, if there are large differences between the ranges of initial variables, those variables with larger ranges will dominate over those with small ranges. For example, a variable that ranges between 0 to 100 will dominate over a variable that ranges between 0 and 1, which will lead to biased result. So transforming the data to comparable scales can prevent this problem. And to prevent this problem only, what we have to do, we have to do the standardization. Means we have to first calculate the mean of all the x and all the y, and then uh, we have to subtract every variable from that mean. This total step is known as standardization. Why we have to perform this? Because variable ranges are there, and if larger ranges variable are there, then uh, they will lead to smaller ranges variable, and to avoid this we have to do the standardization of the data sets given prior to applying principal component analysis algorithm. Now mathematically this can be done by subtracting the mean and dividing by the standard deviation for each value of each variable. Z is equal to value minus mean divided by standard deviation. Once the standardization is done, all the variables will be transformed to the same scale. By using this standardization, range of the variables will not be there, because all the variables will come on same scale by using the step standardization. So this is first step in principal component analysis. Second step is we have to form the covariance matrix. So the second step is covariance matrix computation. The aim of this step is to understand how the variables of the input data set are varying from the mean with respect to each other. Or in other words, to see if there is any relation between them. Because sometimes variables are highly correlated in such a way that they contain redundant information. So in order to identify these correlations, we compute the covariance matrix. So what is meant by covariance matrix? Covariance matrix is the thing where we have to check the correlation between all the data points with one another. So we are having all x values, we are having all y values, and by using that values we have to check the relation between that variables, because there might be some redundant information. And as we are going to reduce the dimension, as we are going to reduce the variables of data set, we have to check whether the data set contains any redundant information, so that we can remove that, and we will go for idle data. For that purpose we need to form the covariance matrix. So in order to identify these correlations, we compute the covariance matrix. Covariance matrix is a P by P symmetric matrix, where P is the number of dimensions that has an entries the covariances associated with all possible pairs of initial variable. For example, for a three-dimensional data set with three variables x, y, and z, the covariance matrix is 3 by 3 matrix of this form. Suppose we are having two dimensions, the matrix will be 2 by 2. Suppose we are having three dimensions, then matrix will be 3 by 3 dimensions. 3 by 3 matrix will be there for 3 dimensions. Now suppose we are having the variables like x, y, and z. X, y, and z is the value of one data set having three variables. Likewise, you can take any number of variables in your data set, and for every number of data set you have to calculate the covariance between one another. Now how it is calculated? So covariance of x, covariance of x, y, covariance of x, z. Then check y's relation with all three variables. Then check z's relation with all three variables. By using this, you can form a covariance matrix of three variables. So the matrix will be of 3 by 3. To calculate the covariance, we are having one formula. We will see the formula. So since the covariance of a variable with itself is its variance, means covariance of A is equal to variable of A. So whatever may be the value of A in the sense you can check, you can say x, as we have seen in before example, that x, y, and z three variables are there. So correlation of x with x will be x only. In the main diagonal, we actually had the variances of each initial level, each initial variable. Means in diagonal level, you can check here, see xx, yy, and zz. Means covariance of xx means value of x only. Covariance of y means value of y only. Covariance of z means value of z only. Uh, and since the covariance is cumulative, covariance of AB means covariance of xy is equal to covariance of yx. The entries of covariance matrix are symmetric with respect to mean diagonal, which means that the upper and lower triangular portions are equal. Means when we come with covariance of xy, then the value of covariance of xy is exactly equal to covariance of y and x. There comes some values like this also in the matrix. What do the covariances that we have as entries of matrix tell us about the correlations between the variables? So it's actually the sign of covariance that matters. If positive, the variables increase or decrease together, means they are correlated. And if negative, one increases when the other decreases. What it means, so these are inversely correlated with one another. Now that we know that covariance matrix is not more than a table that summarizes the correlations between all possible pair of variables. So all these concepts are there when we take the example of principal component analysis. Means by taking the example of principal component analysis, we will better understand what is the exact concept of all these things, or what these concepts are related mathematically in the example only. Now step 3 is compute the eigenvector and eigenvalues of the covariance matrix to identify principal components. Now the eigenvector and eigenvalues are the mathematical concepts. By using the covariance, we have to calculate these values so that we can calculate all possible principal components for the given example, and in which we can choose which principal component is better suitable for that example. And by using that principal component, how we have reduced the dimension. All these things comes now with the eigenvector and eigenvalue. So eigenvector and eigenvalues are the linear algebra concept that we need to compute from covariance matrix in order to determine the principal components of the data. Principal components are new variable that are constructed as linear combination or mixture of the initial variables. These combinations are done in such a way that the new variables, that is principal components, are correlated, and most of the information within initial variables is squeezed or compressed into the first components. So the idea is 10-dimensional data gives you 10 principal components, but PCA tries to put maximum possible information in the first component, then the maximum remaining information on second, and so on until having something like correct thing. What this statement is exactly: principal component are the variables that are means that we have to calculate by using this algorithm only. Then how many number of dimensions for the data set or variables you are using, on the basis of that number of principal components are going to be generated. So the very first principal component should contain maximum number of data among all the data set. The second one will be somewhat less from first, but second maximum data it contains from the data set. Likewise, we are having that much number of principal component, that we are having the number of dimensions, and we have to choose such a principal component which will be best suitable for that example. So organizing information in principal component this way will allow you to reduce dimensionality without losing much information, and this by discarding the components with low information and considering the remaining components as your new variables. An important thing to reduce here it is the principal components are less interpretable and don't have any real meaning. since they are constructed as linear combinations of the initial variables. Principal components represents the directions of the data that explain a maximal amount of variance, that is to say, the lines that capture most information of the data. The relationship between variance and information here is that larger the variance carried by a line, larger the dispersion of the data points along with. The larger the dispersion along with line, the more information it has. All these things defines the relations between the principal components with one another, because we are having a number of principal components with us. Then what we have to do when we are having the larger variance of it, then it directly means that that principal component is having the more information from or among the data set. To put all this simply, just think of principal components as new axes that provide the best angle to see and evaluate the data, so that the differences between the observations are better visible. Now, how a principal component analysis algorithm constructs principal components. So as there are many principal components, as there are variables in the data, principal components are constructed in such a manner that the first principal component accounts the largest possible variance in the data set. Like we have seen before this slide that which principal component contains more variance, that principal component is more suitable for that data set. Now this algorithm is constructing principal components. They are more in number with respect to the dimensions of the data. Then how the thing is going to happen, how it is possible to construct the principal components by using this algorithm. So the second principal component is calculated in the same way, with the condition that it is uncorrelated with the first principal component and that it accounts for the next highest variance. This continues until total p principal components have been calculated equal to the number of variables, original number of variables that we have seen before this. Now that we understood what we mean by principal components, we have to calculate eigenvalue and eigenvector. So to calculate eigenvalue and eigenvector, we are having some formulas. By using that formulas, we have to calculate eigenvalues and eigenvectors. For every eigenvalue, there will be one eigenvector, and they always comes in pair, so that every eigenvector has an eigenvalue, and their number is equal to number of dimensions of that data. So when we see the example, you will be getting all the things, like how these things are going to calculate and how it is possible to calculate the principal components from the given data set by using this algorithm. Now, for example, suppose we are having three-dimensional data set and there are three variables. There are three eigenvectors and three eigenvalues. Like I said before, for every eigenvalue, there is eigenvector. So eigenvalues are simply the coefficients attached to eigenvectors, which give the amount of variance carried in each principal component. By ranking your eigenvectors in order of their eigenvalues, highest to lowest, you get the principal components in order of significance. Now the fourth step is feature vector. Now we have calculated the eigenvalues, and on the basis of eigenvalues we have calculated the eigenvectors also. Now we have to form a feature vector. Then, as we saw the previous step, computing the eigenvectors and ordering them by their eigenvalues in descending order allows us to find principal components in order of significance. Now we have to put them in a descending order, so that we can generate one feature vector and we can check which principal component comes first, which principal component is having more variance, and by using that we can choose the best principal component among the list of principal components. In this step, what we do is to choose whether to keep all these components or discard those of lesser significance, and from either the remaining ones a matrix of vectors that we call feature vector. So the feature vector is simply the matrix that has an column of the eigenvectors of the components that we decide to keep. This makes it the first step towards dimensionality reduction, because if we choose to keep only p eigenvectors out of n, the final data set will have only p dimension. So the feature vector is the thing where we have to simply put the matrix that has the columns like eigenvectors, and we have to decide which one we have to keep, uh, and which one we have to reduce or skip from it, so that it will reduce the dimensions, and accordingly we can go for the principal component. Then the last step is step 5, to recast the data along with the principal components axis. In previous step, apart from the standardization, you do not make any changes on the data. You just select the principal components and from the feature vector, but the input data set remains always in terms of original axis. In this step, which is the last one, the aim is to use the feature vector formed using the eigenvectors of the covariance matrix to reorient the data from the original axis to the ones represented by the principal component. This can be done by multiplying the transpose of the original data set by the transpose of feature vector. So the last step is, what we have to do is, whatever the data generated by standardization step, that matrix we have to take the transpose matrix, and we have to multiply the things with one another, and then only by using that eigenvalues and eigenvectors, we can calculate the number of principal components for that particular example, and then we can choose the best among all these. So this is the last step. So basically there are 5 steps in principal component analysis. We will revise just them one by one once again. So the first step is standardization, uh, where we have to take the mean of all the data set provided in example. Suppose we are having 2 dimensions x and y, then we have to take the mean of all x and mean of all y, and we have to subtract the original values from the mean values and generate the new values by using the step standardization. Then by using that values we have to form a covariance matrix, where uh, we have to check the correlation between all the dimensions of all the data sets with one another, and to check the correlations we are having one formula, but for every variable we have to check the relation with every another variable, and we have to form a covariance matrix. Then after generating covariance matrix, we have to uh, then we have to go for the then the third step will be, we have to compute, or we have to calculate the eigenvalues and eigenvectors. If for everything we are having the formula, just we have to put the values into that formula, and we have to do much more calculations, so that we will get number of eigenvectors and eigenvalues, and it depends on the number of variables provided in the data sets or number of dimensions of the data set. Then for every eigenvalue there will be one eigenvector, and by calculating some things we will get these values, and by using that values, what we have to do is, we have to generate the feature vector, so that we can easily calculate the best or suitable principal component for that example. And for that we have to first calculate the, or we have to first generate the feature vector before deciding which principal vector will work better for that example. And the final step is recast the data along with principal component access port. So what it means, we have to take the transpose of the original data, and we have to take the transpose of the feature vector, and we have to multiply the things with one another so that it will generate the principal components. And among all the principal components, you can choose the better principal component for that example. So by doing all these things, what we are doing is we have to reduce the dimensions of the data set. We have to minimize the variables of any data sets, so that while choosing any feature, or while creating the instances, number of features will be there. So while selecting the features, there should be minimum dimension, there should not be redundant data, there should not be irrelevant data. And if we want to remove all the things, or if we want to minimize the complexities happening because of these things, so we can go for this algorithm. We are having one more algorithm, that is linear discriminant analysis, but we are seeing this as the best algorithm to reduce the dimensions of the given data. So this is all about principal component analysis algorithm. Thank you.